Long before wheat ruled the fields and rice fed the empires of the East, there was barley. It is one of the oldest cultivated plants on Earth, a grass so unassuming that most people walk past it without a second glance. Yet this humble grain helped lift humanity out of the wild and into the first villages, the first cities, and the first written records of who we were. Barley was domesticated more than 10,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, the arc of land stretching across what is now Iraq, Syria, and the hills of southeastern Turkey. There, gatherers noticed that some wild stalks held on to their seeds instead of scattering them to the wind. Slowly, season by season, those plants were chosen, saved, and sown, until a wild grass became a willing crop. The grain spread quickly. Within a few thousand years it reached Egypt, the Indus Valley, and the high plateaus of Tibet, thriving where gentler crops would fail. Barley is tough. It tolerates cold, salty soil, drought, and short growing seasons that would starve wheat. It can ripen in 100 days, climbing mountains and edging toward the Arctic where almost nothing else will grow. This resilience made it the grain of survival, the crop that fed people on the margins of the possible. To grow barley is to work with the seasons. Farmers sow the small seeds in prepared soil, sometimes in autumn so the plants can root before winter, sometimes in spring for a summer harvest. The seedlings emerge as thin green blades, then thicken into a dense carpet that ripples like water under the wind. As the weeks pass, each stalk lifts a slender head crowned with long bristles called awns, giving a ripe field its shimmering, bearded glow. When the grain hardens and the stalks turn the color of old gold, the harvest begins. For most of history, this meant backbreaking labor, whole families bending with sickles, cutting, gathering, and binding the stalks into sheaves. The cut barley was then threshed, beaten or trodden to knock the grain loose, and winnowed, tossed into the air so the breeze could carry off the lighter chaff. Today, a single combine harvester does all of this in one sweeping pass, cutting, threshing, and cleaning the grain as it rolls across the field. Barley's importance was never only as food. In ancient Mesopotamia, it became money. Workers were paid in barley, debts were measured in it, and temples stored it in vast quantities. Some of the earliest writing ever found, pressed into clay tablets more than 5,000 years ago, records nothing more romantic than rations of grain and jars of beer. And beer is barley's great gift to civilization. When the grain is soaked, allowed to sprout, and then dried, it becomes malt, rich in the sugars that yeast can ferment. The Sumerians brewed it, the Egyptians drank it daily, and they paid the laborers who built the pyramids partly in bread and beer, both made from the single grain. Barley fed the living and honored the dead, sealed inside tombs as provision for the journey beyond. For thousands of years, barley bread was the everyday loaf of the poor across Europe and the Near East, denser and darker than wheat, but dependable. The Greek and Roman armies marched on barley. Gladiators were even nicknamed the barley men for the diet that built their strength. Only in later centuries did wheat, prized for its lighter bread, push barley toward the edges of the human plate. Today barley is the fourth most produced cereal in the world, after maize, wheat, and rice. Most of it no longer feeds people directly. The largest share becomes animal feed, fattening the cattle, pigs, and poultry that fill modern markets. Much of the rest is malted for the global beer and whiskey industries, an unbroken thread connecting a craft brewery today to a Sumerian temple thousands of years ago. Yet barley is quietly returning to our tables, valued now for its fiber and its hardy ability to grow in a warming, unpredictable climate. From the first careful seeds saved in a Stone Age valley to the fields and breweries of the present, barley has been a faithful companion.